Happy birthday, February 5th. Your power thought or affirmation is today. I will smile and let others in on the secret. Another way to phrase that is I will allow the hidden parts of myself to be illuminated by communication and compromise. Or phrase it in the way that works for you and your own unique energies. Greetings and gratitude and welcome to anybody who is born on February 5th, who would like to learn more about the archetypes, or who is interested in the 365 days, either personally or through connections. Let your free will flow. It supersedes any zodiac or astrology that can be shown or known, because your own actions override any predicted fate, destiny, or causality that any book or material could ever understand. So take what works and leave what doesn't. I am using the Element Encyclopedia of Birthdays by Teresa Chung and the Beyond Lemuria Oracle cards by Izzy Ivy as reference material. I will extrapolate my own information upon this. Okay, so I have a clear vision of your archetype, February 5th. There is a beautiful ballroom. Everyone's dressed to the nines. They're wearing the best clothing they have. They're all dancing, smooching, talking to each other, mingling at the best way. But this person walks in. Doesn't matter their gender, it's you. And they walk through. And they see someone, they do the head nod. Next person, they give a hug. Next person, they do the fist bump. Other person, they exchange contacts. And each and every person, they're just the smooth operator. They're going to each and every one. All of the people interacting, feeling their energy, going from place to place, being it right now in their own way, in their own power that is within them. That smooth operator, they know how to communicate, they know how to go back and forth and to dance in the way where each party gets what they wanted. And a lot of people just want to be seen. That's the secret. But if you know how to see, people also want to be heard. When you can tap into those two primary response senses, it will help you in foster relationships. I see that you really have the ability to grab and deliver on the goods, to know that this is what I'm going to achieve, this is how I want to achieve it, and this is the long-term outcome. This is how everyone can prosper from how cool the thing I've actually done. Because it once was hot, it was too hot to handle. But you cooled it down to a place where you can make it happen in its own smoothness. I'm also getting rosé wine. A beautiful, aged rosé, 100-year-old wine. That 100-year-old wine or older is different than a wine just made yesterday. The fermentation, the experience, the stories, the lives and deaths that have occurred since the time of this wine modify the flavor. So, there might be a facade in your life, and facade might be a thing for you in an outward-facing way of how do people perceive you, how do people look at you, and are they seeing the honest you, or are they seeing the person you want to see, the person that you want them to see of you. So a great challenge is to be open on how you really feel. To be honest that you are happy, you are sad, you are angry, you are glad, but you're all in between. And feeling it honestly and purely, instead of letting it be diluted, letting it be held away because I don't know why I'm feeling this, I don't want to feel this, oh, I could never be feeling this. How are you going to experience this energy within you? Because the way to move forward is to understand that emotions should never be repressed or ignored. Those emotions are important. Those emotions are communications from you, from spirit, and from reality. If you're not in touch with your feelings, with your emotions, you'll never be happy. Happiness relies on this attunement with how you feel, what you feel, and why you feel that way. I think philosophy, psychology, mystery, intrigue, the unknown, grander questions of cosmetology, of universality, from the microcosm to the macrocosm. This archetype really enjoys it. February 5th, you may feel that the more that you think, you can feel a little more. That there's a back and forth between those, but sometimes that leads to overanalyzing that allows your energy to kind of fall into a simulation where that flair, that management, that allowance of this is how it's going to happen, and then the moderation, and then the doing. You do it and do what you need to do, which shows the other people to do what they need to do, and leadership follows. I can see that you have very very smooth with your words. You know how to communicate. You have a confidence. You don't use ums and ahs very often, and when you do, you incorporate it into the conversation. And you're most likely working on ways to not do that as much. I see for your destiny, if you choose to accept this and leave it if it doesn't work for you, is to really let your feelings manifest to the highest order. Really put attention to it, develop it, and let your emotional sensitivity get to the highest, where you could just walk into a room and feel emotions and master it in a way that is a tool and a powerful thing, because you're going to inspire and influence other people to move towards their greatest thing, to their highest achievement, by you being able to really look at the importance of how you feel, who you are, what is you, that can manifest outward. So at your best and worst, leave them if they don't work, take them as they do. Is that you can be very articulate, but you can be cocky. You're inconsistent, but daring. Some people would say you're condescending, but I would argue, I don't like what the book has in response to that. I would say the other side of condescending is you know how to communicate in ways where people may not know exactly the words or phrases you're using, but they understand it because you speak in a way that's universal. So I would say instead of condescending, you might be a little universal. So if you didn't already know, your sun sign is Aquarius. Your birth date is Mercury, communication, dialogue, discourse, understanding, technology. Your favorable days are Saturday and Wednesday that fall on the 5th and 7th of the month. The 5th and 7th are favorable numbers. Amethyst is your birthstone. For love, it is very deeply desired to be needed. You want to be part of a caretaking. You really want to be in relationships where there's a territory of this is your space, this is how you add, this is what you incorporate. Because that emotional help with a partner is more important than a relationship. You want partnership, but you don't want it to be an outmart, just an complete slaughter where one person dominates the whole thing. There needs to be that discourse, that back and forth of a true partnership. For career, it is really important for you to look inward and see what energies are drawn to you by people who might have helped you or helped others in your life. This could be guardians, caretakers, landowners, social workers. I see rangers, maybe even film, design, art, writing, the full spectrum of creativity. But whatever you prefer to work on, and you might want it to be a startup or your own business instead of being part of a pre-existing business, or one that is a startup where you're not at the highest. You might want to just start with your own business that you have a lot more power into. I will now move on to your birthday card. Is gracious receptivity. Are you receiving? Are you open to receiving? Everyone gives a little bit. We have to give a little bit or we can't live at all. But how much can we receive? How much are we open to receiving? how much of the reception are within you, and how much of them are without you. How much of it is masked, how much of it is open, how much of it is shining, crowned, and powerful, and how much of it is gliding in the mist of the morning dew. How are you able to perceive this? Are you receiving your perceptions, or are you closed to how you feel and what is going on? So I wish you a happy birthday and a powerful 365 days to come.